Hi guys, happy Tuesday, welcome to the morning after. Today we are recapping episode 2 of season 23 of Colton's season of The Bachelor. And we are going to start off, as always, so every morning after for season 23, we're going to be doing a moment that delivered. And this is brought to you by Skip the Dishes, which, as I'm sure you know, is Canada's leading food delivery company. And so they will bring you yummy meals from restaurants around you through its site and its app. And we're going to give you a moment that delivered. And so this is pretty much a moment that, to me, stood out. It was either lighthearted or funny or meaningful moment in the episode. And so my moment that delivered in episode 2 was Colton, actually, how he dealt with Hannah B on her one-on-one date. So in general, I thought Colton had amazing empathy for her and the women in general, but especially for Hannah B and how he dealt with that on her date. Unprompted, he told her that he felt she was trying too hard to be perfect and that he didn't want perfection from her. And while I think a lot of leads at that point would have kind of written her off, I mean, it's the first one-on-one, they'd be like, oh, I have like 24 other girls to choose from. It really felt like he was trying to, you know, give her that chance. Even if in his mind he had written her off, which to be honest is very possible, it felt like he was giving her that opportunity to show her true self on TV. And it just felt very, very deeply kind. And it stood out to me a lot. And, in general, Colton soared upwards for me in this episode. He's showing, like, he proves to be quite intuitive with the women, and he just seems to know what they need and knows, like, how much encouragement to give whom. And I actually don't think with Hannah B, like I said, I don't think he sees anything super long-term there. I mean, the toast was pretty painful, but it just felt like he gave her the rosette of kindness and to reward her for showing some vulnerability. So, kudos, Colton, you killed it, and that was my moment that delivered. Okay, so I'm gonna go through an order chronologically, as I always do on the morning after. So, starting with the first group date, the girls have to tell firsts. So stories there seems to be like some suggestion that they should have some sexual undertones to these stories. I don't know how reinforced that rule was or whether that was even a rule. It just sort of felt like that was expected of them. But all I wrote was, God, I'm so happy I never had to do one of those. Whenever I see dates like that, I'm like, oh, I got so lucky. I would way rather play soccer, even if I suck at soccer. Okay, so Demi, obviously the big thing about this date was Demi's big, you know, move. She moves aside her mic and goes down and takes a kiss from Colton. And I know it was like, everyone was like, oh my God, I'm desensitized. This didn't blow me away. It's clear Demi knows what she's doing. I feel like we've seen this before. It's very Corinne-like. And like I said last week, it feels like if she becomes the villain, it's because she's choosing to do so, and I still feel that way. In the evening, Elise really pulls through here. She says that, she kind of makes a joke about the cougar den. What I loved about this is not the fact that there is a cougar den, but the fact that, a cougar den, but I love that she was just frank about it and just, you know, was open to talking about the fact that she's, I don't know, 5 years older than him. It was just refreshing and nice and wasn't seen as this faux pas and like this weird thing. She just sort of was herself, and that to me was the real maturity of this episode. There was so much talk about maturity, how old someone is and how mature they must be and how serious they are. To me, that is maturity. She's 31. What's there to say? Like that, you know, it was just so, she had that self-assuredness. And she gets a solid kiss and the group date rose. That was a pretty big deal. Okay, I have to talk a bit about Tracy's level of upsetness over the fact that Demi grabbed the rose, the group date rose. I don't understand why she was as upset as she was. It felt a little disproportionate. It's a rose. Like, chill out. It's not a big deal. It's not like, oh, Colton has to touch a rose. Like, of course, these are all unspoken rules, but it's such a sign of disrespect. I don't really, to me, this is not like throwing a framed photo in a swimming pool. Although, you know, even that, like, I just feel like everyone makes a bigger deal than they should out of everything. And Tracy said it's bizarre that she thought that was okay. And that's precisely it. Demi knows it's not okay. She's totally like poking her buttons and I hate that Tracy was giving her the reaction. It was just way too easy. Okay, moving on. Hannah B gets her one-on-one. So at the start of this date, it comes out that Kaylin and Hannah B know each other. I mean, we knew this because they were both in the Miss USA pageant, but we didn't know they were roommates, and we didn't know that they have since not been friends anymore, or like they're no longer friends or something. I don't know. They seem to get along fine, but then they were both talking about each other in this episode. Kaylin talks about how Hannah B flipped a switch and there's a facade, and she had a hard time with Kaylin beating her in the Miss USA pageant and she didn't place. All I wrote was, I really, 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 really wish that they didn't do this and that they could be the exception to the stereotype. You know, of course you think there's going to be the stereotype, oh, these two pageant girls, oh, they're like this. And I hate that they're playing into it, that they are that stereotype. It's such a shame because this was a huge opportunity to prove that, you know, you can have friendly competition, you can be friends, and it was just like, resist. Okay, Hannah B, the toast, brutal. This was really brutal. I couldn't help but write, this is a girl that, you know, answers questions in front of tens or hundreds of thousands of people. It's hard to picture, but I understand the pressure of like the TV, like the cameras, and you know, you were overthinking everything, but this was still pretty like, whoa, like take a deep breath. Ultimately, she's able to show her cracks on this date, and thanks to Colton's very kind and gentle encouragement, but Hannah B, I mean, I don't really see her going to Final Four based on this date. To me, the rose felt like a congratulations, you opened up, Rose, not I can see myself marrying you one day, Rose. Okay, group date 2. This was the requisite funny date of episode 2. There's always a funny date in episode 2. The kitschy competition and celeb comedian guest date, and thank God for Billy Eichner because he was the all-star. I love him. He had so many like quotable moments in this date. He said, maybe you're the first gay bachelor and we don't even know. It was so awesome, and he suggested that Colton might want to look into, you know, that side of himself, and it was really funny. I think it was the first time we've truly seen Colton completely speechless, and it was just great. Okay, so the only thing I really have to say about this date was in the evening when we see Heather talk about whether or not she should talk to Colton about the fact that she's never kissed anyone. And we get this montage of Colton kissing people, including Tayshia. And, okay, so I confess there's a bit of Instagram stalking here, but we see him kissing Tayshia. We never saw their first kiss. We never saw the kiss develop. And then I stalked her Instagram, and it looked like they kissed on night 1, and my mind was just like, I just don't understand how we could be given so much like viewing party action. Like I swear a solid hour of that 3-hour episode was dedicated to viewing parties, and we didn't even get this moment, this first kiss moment. It's just, it doesn't make any sense. I want more actual episode. Finally, the rose ceremony. More of Tracy versus Demi. Doesn't it seem so coincidental that out of all the people Demi happens to interrupt, it's Tracy? It's just painful to me that Tracy keeps giving into this and just keeps reacting and crying and just in general, fueling that fire. That's the reason this is happening, is because she's delivering the reaction. And maybe I'm just desensitized. It's possible I'm desensitized. I'm desensitized to a girl, you know, kissing Colton in front of everyone or wearing a robe to a rose ceremony. I just feel like I've seen it before. It feels done. And the last thing I have to say about this is Erica McNutt. We will miss you, even though we hardly knew you. I was really sad to see Erica McNutt go. I can't say Erica, it's Erica McNutt. And yeah, she was just so funny last week, and I'm shocked that she went home so early. How sad. All right, you guys, thank you for tuning in with me this week. Be sure to read my Flair recap, which is out now, and my All the Pretty Pandas recap, which will be out later this week. And as always, my favorite thing is a discussion with you guys, so chime in and let me know what you thought of episode 2. And I'll see you here next week.